Welcome to Stone Cottage Adventures. It's officially the Christmas season, so we can begin the decoration, and I'm going to share with you how my tree came to be. I showed a few days ago my inspiration, which is all things glittery and sparkly and vintage and glam. So this year is going to be really spectacular, showy tree. And the tree that I've been using for the last 5 years is falling apart, so I have bought this new tree. It came from Michael's. I paid $79.99. They always have a lot of really great sales before Christmas, and I have put up the tree and fluffed it thoroughly. And that's what makes an artificial tree look really nice, is good fluffing. And the reason I bought this particular tree is it had some branches that looked like fir and some branches that looked like a pine. So I think the secret to this one is making sure that the pine is nicely fluffed. There are 2 little pine sprigs on the end of every branch, and that makes a huge difference in how it looks. Since my Christmas tree is going to have an assortment of ornaments, vintage ornaments, handmade ornaments, it's some newer things, I need something to unify it, and my ribbon is going to be my unifier. And of course, I had to get the glittery, glammy ones. Now, the best way to buy ribbon, in my experience, has been to go to Costco, and they get the wire-edged ribbon, 50 yards for $8.99. Hard to beat the price. And this one has a little greenery with little sparkly specks on it, and this one is just a glittery green one. There's always a glittery green one. This one was from a couple of years ago. The one that I have, my new one, is a little bit different, but very similar. Now, you can do a couple of different things with the edge. You can simply cut it at an angle. That makes it look pretty. I kind of like just a single angle on my narrower ribbon. On my larger ribbon, fold it in half and cut it at an angle, and that creates a fishtail. Now I'm just going to make a smaller ribbon, and if I want to use 2, you can do this with 1, 2, 3, but pretty easy. They don't even have to line up all that well. I'm just going to make it a small little tail. I can make it longer if I want, something that's drapey, or a little bit shorter. And I'm going to pinch the 2 together. If you've never done this before, just start with a single ribbon, and then it'll be a little easier to work with. I'm going to throw these on the floor because they'll spin out more easily if they're on the floor. So I've got it pinched, and I'm going to make my loops now, and I'm going to make an odd number of loops. I'm going to make 5 loops. I can make the loop small, I can make the loop big. I'm going to do kind of a medium-sized loop. That looks pretty medium-sized. And I'm going to pinch them together. Yeah, that looks about right. Now I'm going to take that back, and I'm going to twist it because it definitely has a front and a back. Now when my hand goes over here and disappears, I'm simply unspooling some more ribbon. And I'm going to make 5 loops about the same size. Again, I'm going to gather it. That could be a little bit bigger. There. And twist it. Turn it. Twist it. Turn it. And twist it. Now at this point I have 5. You want a really full one. If they're longer, It tends to work better with more. If they're shorter, you can do just 3. And I'll show you one later where I do only 1 loop. Now, I'm just going to cut this off right now, and I'll come back later and make it look pretty. Now, the easiest thing to do, because I always have a lot of these lying around, this is just a little piece of wire. I don't know if you can see that or not. A little piece of wire that you use to hang your Christmas ornaments. They bend quite easily, and they're cut to a nice length. And I twist it in the back. Pretty easy. Now, if I want to hang it on something, I can use a second one and just put it in the wire and make it look good. Now you're thinking, oh, that looks pretty awful. Well, it's all about the fluffing. Just like the tree, you got to fluff your ribbons. So here's my one side that has 3. He becomes the center, and these 2 over here we can fluff up, and then we can take these ribbons and they come down, and of course I promised you we cut these, make these look pretty. There's just a diagonal. There's fishtail. Most people would do them exactly the same, but I'm not most people. I just do them a little bit differently. And there we have it. I can use that on my Christmas tree with longer ribbons on it from the top. I can use them with individual items. I could use it on a garland. I could use it on Christmas packages under the tree, all kinds of places. And I make a lot of ribbons. Nothing beats a wired ribbon. The goal is over the top sparkle. So we have 3 of the classically made ribbons here. And this is just an inexpensive little glittery snowflake that I think I'll try, and we'll see how that works. And I'm going to put the 3 of those on top of the tree. I may live to regret this next summer when I'm still vacuuming glitter. Now the next thing we're adding, you can kind of see on the tree, I've already added a few, but this is super easy to do. Just cut my little fishtail here and twisting like we did before and making a loop, twisting again, and deciding roughly how long I want it to be, cutting off another fishtail, and then I'm going to use just a piece of the greenery. Twist it on. Make sure my sparkly side is out. Another little piece of the tree. Tie it on. And down we go. That is definitely glittery. As I get to the bottom, I'm making them, a couple of them much shorter so they don't have to go quite so far, but that's how I get around the tree. Okay, so here we have our topper, and we have our gold ribbons, and I have put some gold beaded garland on the tree. That was, I believe, left over from my grandmother. She was the glam person. And there's Kirby under the tree. Now it's time to start adding some other decorations. So I'm going to show you some close-ups of some things. This was one that my grandmother made. And up here, another one that my grandmother made. They used to make styrofoam molds and all kinds of shapes that you could buy at hobby stores. They no longer do that. Here are some little glittery birds that my mother had from early marriage in the 1950s. And some classic Christmas balls with indentations and different shapes, and also just plain ones. This one is the one that I made with my grandmother. It's really hideous, but I made that when I was a little girl. Down here, my children's silver cups with a ribbon around the handle and some greenery. Down low, we have little Gracie is only 2, and she and all of her siblings and cousins will be coming for Christmas. So down low, where Gracie can reach, I tried to have things that we wouldn't have to worry about. So the children's cups are safe, and this one that looks kind of like crystal happens to be a plastic of some type. Metal items, wooden items that are all glittery. Even some cloth items that have beads and sparkles on them. And my great aunt's gold lame evening bag, which I'm sure the little girls will love touching that. And deep in the back, we've included lots of old Christmas balls, but if you look very carefully, I have a lot of small silver items, and back in there is a tray, and it just comes across as reflected light, but it brings a lot of light into the center of the tree, and I have a number of them. Here's another one here. It's kind of a shell-shaped dish. It's confused, not quite sure what to focus on. And some little silver rocking horse from early in my marriage. There's another very small little silver container that, again, I've put a ribbon on it. Crystal ornaments. This is a little ornament from when my first baby was born, when Daniel was born. Little sequined Christmas stockings that came one year. My grandmother gave all the children money for Christmas, and it came in their own little stockings. And here's our definitely retro mid-century. I don't know quite what that's supposed to be, but definitely very hip. And finishing off the tree, Christmas stocking with, a Christmas tree skirt with glitter and sequins. This one happens to be a little train going around the tree. Again, from my grandmother. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.